With Coca-Cola, Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Monday, the 5th day of June 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, including using your indicators whenever you're changing lanes, whenever you're turning. Don't wait until you reach the point where you're going to turn and then put your indicator on. Do so before. Remember, when you're driving, leave sufficient space between your vehicle and the vehicle that is in front of you. Otherwise, if you drive too close and there are sudden stops, then you're likely to rear end the other driver as well. And you would have heard me speak about the fact that maybe a week and a half ago, seems as if there was a chain reaction accident on Linford Pearson Highway. Some between 5 and 7 cars ran into each other. That's usually caused by driving too close behind the vehicle that is in front of you as well. So my main objective here is to try to make the roads of the Cayman Islands so much safer. It means saving lives. It could also possibly mean a reduction in your insurance rates as well. Because we all pay whenever there's a vehicular accident out there. We all pay at the end of the day for that as well. So please, extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday for today or a belated happy birthday over the past few days as well. And to remind you that For the Record birthday shout-outs are brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the 2nd floor of the Thompson Building. Those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and also that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for loving Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. We strive to keep you informed, to keep you abreast of what is happening. Sometimes we may add a little trivia to the conversation as well, but we try to be as informative as possible here on For the Record, and we welcome and we certainly appreciate your contribution when the time allows as well. So, For the Record has been produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I happen to be your host. My name is Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning again, I thought she was on vacation, but not yet, and I won't tell you when. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And also you can call us on that number, but we can only accommodate one caller at a time on our WhatsApp number as well. You can also follow us on YouTube. You do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And don't forget that we are on Facebook as well. So first of all, let's look at the birthday shout-outs today. And again, to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs proudly brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson building. So we're going to first look at yesterday and see who celebrated birthdays. Omar Troers celebrated a birthday. I'm going to leave this one for the last on yesterday's birthdays. Miss Chastine Elizabeth Rankin celebrated a birthday yesterday as well. One of Miss Chastine, belated happy birthday. And Miss Sarah Orrett celebrated her birthday on the 4th of June. And of course, we did a little feature, impromptu feature on Miss Sarah Orrett being recognized as the Civil Servant of the Year by the Deputy Governor's Office, and of course that would be by all of her colleagues in the civil service as well. Big shout out to her, and she proudly represents the Cayman Islands, at the reception area of the government administration building as well. So let's see. Anyone who's celebrating birthday tomorrow? I don't have any for today yet. Miss Anna Rose Scott. Miss Anna Rose Scott, very popular person in the BRAC, in the Sister Islands. She's celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And Miss Rebecca Fuentes also celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well. If you have any birthday shout-outs, please share them with us as well. And a big shout-out also this morning to my niece, Miss Janelle Campbell. She is celebrating her birthday today. I also want to give a big shout-out to Janelle on her recent promotion as well. Well-deserved, and wish you all the success in that. So, Janelle, enjoy your special day today. And folks, again, to remind you, before I remind you one more time, we do have Another birthday shout out here that I want to share with you. Miss Wilma Ebanks. She's celebrating a birthday today as well. Miss Wilma Ebanks. These birthday greetings are coming from Ruth James and family. Also coming from her grandson, DeMarley Ebanks. May the good Lord continue to bless her. So Miss Wilma Ebanks celebrating a birthday today as well. And again, to remind you that the first For the Record birthday shout-outs proudly brought to you by More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson Building. And folks, also to remind you that at the 9 o'clock hour, immediately after our headline news, we will have the governor of the Cayman Islands, Miss Jane Owen, who will be in the studio with us on Friday. I reminded you that she would be on, and encourage you, if you have any questions or comments, try to make them as short as possible. Not sure yet whether or not we will be opening up the phone lines, but in the event that we don't, we're asking you to send your comments or your questions, either email them to us on fortherecord@candw.ky or WhatsApp us 925-3261. While we know and we acknowledge that many of you would want to speak to the governor, but we have to bear in mind there is only 1 hour. There's a 1 hour segment that she will be on the show. So there may not be a whole lot of time for person-to-person conversations. But if you send in your questions or comments, I will do my utmost to ensure that they are conveyed to the governor on air and have Her Excellency Jane Owen respond to them as well. So folks, with that, we're going to take our first commercial break. Phone lines are open for you if you want to call in between, I would suggest, when we return from the commercial break, we'll have about 10, 12 minutes. So if you want to be the early bird and call in, if you have something on your mind, something that you want to talk about that may have occurred during the weekend, let us know as well. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Olivine Louise Barnett. Olivine Barnett, nee Parry, has lived an exemplary life and is a great example of humility. In her 20s and during the World War II years, she served as a youth missionary to Jamaica for 9 years. She returned to Grand Cayman and continued her work in the Wesleyan Holiness Church, formerly Pilgrim Holiness in West Bay. She is known throughout the Cayman Islands for playing the mandolin, reciting poetry, and singing. She has made a great contribution to the memory bank of the Cayman Islands National Archive, where her narrative has been transcribed. She and her husband, William Osborne Barnett Jr., had 6 children.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture. Tap into your roots. More Than Words bookstore in the Thompson Building. Supplies local books, gifts, trinkets, keepsakes, wall plaques, and journals. The hub for local authors. More Than Words. So much more. More Than Words is now open. Shop number 4, second floor Thompson Building. Or call 936-5544.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio yet, but to remind you that the Governor of the Cayman Islands, Ms. Jane Owen, will be in the studio at 9 o'clock. And during the course of the show, later on, after the 8 o'clock news, I will share with you her biography. We'll share with you some information that is on the UK government's website in relation to specifically in relation to Governor Owen, as well as the some information on the responsibilities of the governor as well. And to remind you that we also had another governor in the Cayman Islands with the last name Owen, John Owen. He was governor of the Cayman Islands as well, to remind you of that also. Let's look at some of the other things that have been occurring in the Cayman Islands. Oh, there was one article, and I hope I still have that up on the screen here to share with you, that the Lands and Survey Department, if you have any changes that you need to make to your land titles, like postal address. Some people may have various plots or properties, and they may, in some instances, use their initial, middle name, their initial, or their complete middle name, or something. And if you want to change that out, you have until the end of June, June 30th, to do it free of cost, through the Lands and Survey Department. Maybe, quite possible, government could look at that. I'm sure that they're able to determine the amount of revenue that is derived from such changes, and see whether or not they can make it permanent or at least extend it for a longer period of time. What our legislators and our government need to understand is that when the people that you serve see you reaching out to them and extending certain privileges to them that do not necessarily affect their bottom line or their pocketbooks, they certainly appreciate that. And that's what they sometimes feel that you're there to do for them, to make life much easier for them as well. So gestures like that, like reducing the fees or eliminating the fees altogether for something like a change of name, or if you want to restrict it to Caymanians only, remember now that our Constitution allows you to do that, to discriminate in favor of Caymanians to a certain extent, then, extend it to Caymanians as well. But while we understand the intention of it, celebrating the Lands and Survey Department, at the same time, it's something that you may want to look at to have it implemented on a permanent basis as well. Ms. Susan, do we have a caller? Okay, I'll recheck it to see, because I'm told that it may be the end of July, so I will recheck that to see. But I was going over some of my emails, the press releases, and that is where I found it. But we will go back and look for it again as well to show. We see lots of concerns also about the increase in interest rates, and certainly not only here in the Cayman Islands, but elsewhere. We hear about foreclosures, and while foreclosures are personal to individuals, and you may not necessarily know who they are, I think it is important for us to know the number of foreclosures that may be taking place as well. That would be helpful, because if you are going to legislate to change something, then you want to know the impact that it is likely to have as well. So that is extremely important to know. And we did hear I'm not sure if he said it on air, but I welcome the leader of the opposition on their next appearance in the show to talk about interest rates and why the Cayman Islands are inextricably linked with the U.S. and the U.S. interest rates, because while we are a British overseas territory, our financial system is geared more towards U.S., using the U.S. dollar as the standard that we are pegged with, are pegged to. And the leader of the opposition has, since he's a financial person, has given his commitment that they will talk more about it, try to explain it more to people, because if you are a member of any WhatsApp or Facebook groups or whatever, you see a lot of comments, and people can only comment based on what they perceive, and in many instances on what they feel as well, in terms of especially interest rates and how it's affecting them. So sometimes the information that you see and the comments that you read and you hear on social media platforms, those comments may be a little bit misinformed. So we'll try to get as much information out there as possible. We have heard people opine about the fact that the Cayman Islands Development Bank, that its remit should be expanded. And we know that they do quite a bit now. I know that persons connected with CIDB, either on a board level or otherwise, may be listening. And if they have any information in terms of CIDB and what it offers, I would welcome them to please WhatsApp me. You have my WhatsApp number as well, my private number. WhatsApp me and share information with us in that regard, as well as to what Cayman Islands Development Bank is doing or can do. Also, we have spoken about the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association Credit Union, and they are also in the mortgage business as well. If you're not a member, look into the possibility of you being a member. Then you sit down and you, with a financial expert, you crunch the numbers and see whether or not switching to credit union may be more in your favor as well. And in the long term, you really that's what you want to look at, the long-term implications of moving to another financial institution. And those who are seeking mortgages at this point in time, not a good time to be seeking, but see what you can do. There are fixed rate. I was reading an article about loans, fixed term, fixed rate loans. They're usually given for shorter periods of time. Also in the UK, in many instances, we find that the mortgage lending period, the length of time that you have for a mortgage, may not be as long as in the US, which is usually 15 and 30-year mortgages. That may be something that can be discussed as well. But the whole idea is that if you're not that familiar with finances and mortgages, you should consult with an expert to get the best advice that you can. And maybe in this climate, rather than seeking to purchase, it may be just cheaper to seek to rent until the interest rates stabilize again. Of course, there are expectations that the interest rates will go down, but that will take time. They'll probably go down much slower than they were increased as well. Folks, we've reached about that time, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Hey, have you started preparing for hurricane season yet?
Not yet. I'm not sure where to start.
Well, making a grocery shopping list is a good place to begin. You'll want to stock up on non-perishable food items like canned goods, peanut butter, and crackers.
What about water?
Definitely. You'll want to have plenty of bottled water on hand. And don't forget about hygiene and first aid supplies.
That's a good point.
Foster's has a great emergency kit checklist online. Just go to fosters.ky or look out for the helpful signs when shopping in store. Foster's. Better because we care.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman Islands.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The opposition plans to ask 9 parliamentary questions during this week's meeting, which starts on Wednesday. Topics include requirements for motorized bicycles, electronic bicycles, and electric scooters to be used on public roads, an update on the mental health facility, government's plans to tackle the current rising interest rate regime, and the PAC-led administration's position on a, quote, moratorium on the granting of some forms of Cayman status. Radio Cayman carries proceedings live on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, and rebroadcasts Parliament in the evenings during the meetings. The Central Planning Authority does a 180 on a West Bay apartment complex application. Back in June 2020, planning permission was initially granted by the CPA for 24 buildings with 8 units each for a total of 192, a pool, laundry facility, and cabana. There have been mounting concerns from members of the public with regards to increased flooding they've seen on their properties near where work has already started on the Bottabanu site. Developer Legoland appeared before the CPA on May 10th to pitch a modification to planning permission, now asking for 96 apartments, a pool, and laundry building. Treating the modification as a new application, the CPA opted to refuse permission. In its reasoning, the board said, quote, approximately a little over half of the property is zoned neighborhood commercial, and the applicant is proposing 56 apartments in that zone. Regulations state, quote, in a neighborhood commercial zone, residential development is permissible if the development is not on the ground floor of the building. In this instance, the board says 56 units are in the NZ zone and 28 of those are on the ground floor. Now, under regulations, residential development may be permitted on any or all floors of a neighborhood commercial zone if the development is a replacement or redevelopment of an existing development, or if the development forms part of a mixed-use development situated on one parcel of land, and the planned development includes a mixture of commercial and residential uses. The CPA has determined that this is, quote, not applicable in this case, therefore refusing the application. And the reviews are in.
So Blood Brothers has been absolutely incredible. The cast are so energetic. The shirt is beautiful. I've got my tissues ready. Like, I'm ready to cry. It's a must-see.
Astounding. Singing, the choreography, just blew my mind. It's been amazing.
It's enjoyable. Absolutely smashing.
Stunning. The 2 performances by the lead actresses we were just saying is amazing.
This is the final weekend of Blood Brothers, the latest musical production at the Prospect Playhouse. The show is a haunting yet often comical musical about twins separated at birth, exploring how life can be very different depending on what you were born into and what privileges are or are not handed to you on the way. Tickets for the final shows are available online at cds.ky. Quick note, there is a content warning for a strong adult language, violence, including guns and knives, sexual references, and mental health issues. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News. Russia's Ministry of Defense is reporting fighting in a string of locations across southern and eastern Ukraine in what appears to be a significant escalation of the conflict. It's the latest sign that an expected Ukrainian counter-offensive may have begun. An advisor to Ukraine's defense minister told the BBC efforts to retake occupied land had never stopped. Hong Kong's top court has cleared a journalist of wrongdoing after she used public information to investigate an attack on pro-democracy demonstrators in 2019. An earlier decision had found documentary maker Bao Choi guilty of lying. Police in northern Nigeria say armed men killed 30 people in raids on 6 villages at the weekend. Residents from 2 villages said the attacks in Sokoto State were reprisals for refusing to pay protection money to bandits. Protests have continued in Senegal against the sentencing of the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to 2 years in prison. Demonstrations were reported in 2 western towns on Sunday. The European Commission says Twitter chose confrontation by exiting a voluntary code of practice on fake news that lays ground rules for an incoming European law on digital services. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt@valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store, or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 22nd Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Humility, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 25th at the Hartwell Theatre. Awesome performances by Rico Rolando, Dream Chasers, Radiance Dance Studio, UCCI Dancers, Centerpoint Dance Studio, Sparks School of Performing Arts, Dan Ebanks, and more. Hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker. Part of the proceeds from the talent exposition go to support the training program of the arts. Tickets available from Number One Shoe Shop and Winner Circle Sports. Prepaid $15 or $20 at the gate. The 2023 Talent Exposition of the Arts, Humility, Sunday, June 25th at the Hartwell Theatre. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Get your tickets today. The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. The barometric pressure is 29.86 inches and rising. The wind is out of the southwest at 3 knots. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopses indicate light winds and smooth seas are expected to continue across the Cayman Islands over the next 24 hours due to a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northeast. The forecast for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers. Temperatures today will be in the upper 80s with a heat index of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be south to southwest at 5 knots or less, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures dipping to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be south to southwest at 5 knots or less, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet as well. High tide will be this morning at 9:38, low tide this afternoon at 4:18, and a high tide again tonight at 11:30. The sun will set this evening at 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for an increase in cloudiness and showers from tomorrow night, along with moderate southeasterly winds and seas. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving our goals is rewarding, but at times can feel frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success. When setting your goals, break it down. Once the long-term goals are set, work backwards to set smaller and more manageable goals. These should be specific, measurable, and achievable. For example, study in the library for 1 hour 3 times per week instead of study more. Consider daily, weekly, yearly goals as success to help you focus on the essential steps today to ensure you are prepared when tomorrow's opportunities become available. Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, Cayman Islands. Let's take a look at how your traffic is shaping up this morning. On Shamrock Road, just past the Tomlinson Roundabout, traffic is moving on moderately, but as you get closer to the Linford-Pearson Highway, steady traffic. At the beginning of the Linford-Pearson Highway, as you get further down, it'll bumper-to-bumper traffic. The latest estimated time is about 25-30 minutes before you get to Georgetown, but you're going to get there. Also, slow-moving traffic on Cool Road heading to Georgetown, and traffic is steady coming off of Agnes Way as well as off of Bobby Thompson Way. Slight delays expected. As we look to the Esterly Tibbetts Highway coming off of there, little steady traffic and continuing on to the Industrial Park area. On North Sound Road in both directions, traffic is moving on moderately, as well as on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. And no issues coming from the West Bay four-way stop as traffic is moderate. And traffic flowing pretty good on Owen Roberts Drive. Eastern Avenue flowing moderately. And traffic flowing at a good pace on Edward Street. Out of Georgetown on Shedden Road looking pretty good. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and drive safe.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Prevention is key. Is your heart at risk? During the month of June, Baptist Health International is offering special pricing for cardiac CT scan for calcium scoring for just 99 CI to patients at high risk for heart disease, the leading cause of deaths worldwide. You are a candidate if you are 40 to 65 years old and have any of the following risk factors: obesity, current or recent smoker, family history of heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or diabetes. To request an appointment or for more information, call 749-3304 or visit baptisthealth.ky.
Why replace when you can respray? At Granite Express Cayman, we can completely transform your old kitchen cabinets with a fresh kitchen respray for just a fraction of the cost of buying new ones. Big news! Our summer special promo is here. We are offering kitchen countertop specials up to 50 square feet installed for only $1,595 CI for granite and $1,895 for quartz. We can make your dream kitchen come true and at a price to suit all budgets. Call 922-0424 for a free estimate, friendly service, fast installation. Hurry! Limited time only while supplies last. Visit graniteexpresscayman.com.
Do you own a Honda vehicle? There is currently an urgent safety recall regarding faulty Toyota airbags in Honda vehicles in the Cayman Islands. As affected vehicles get older, a combination of high temperatures and humidity can affect airbags with the fault, placing you and your family at potential risk. Car City is currently replacing any defective airbags completely free of charge. To check whether your vehicle is affected, go to carcity.ky/recalls. If your vehicle is not affected, you will need a letter from Car City stating so for your next vehicle licensing inspection. Without this, your vehicle will not pass its inspection. Please contact Car City service team to arrange this by calling 949-5525 or go to carcity.ky/recalls. The safety of you and your family is important to Car City, so please take the time to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Phone lines are open. I'll just comment on that last announcement made by Miss Susan. Again, it goes to show you the advantage of buying a vehicle that falls under some type of regulation as opposed to purchasing deportees where you may not know the history of the vehicle. And I will use as an example, I purchased a used vehicle from Car City. When the notice came out, and there was a notice that came out a few years earlier in relation to it as well, Car City contacted me for the vehicle to be brought in for inspection because they had the details on me, even though I was not the original purchaser of that vehicle. It was a used vehicle, but they had the history of the vehicle. Again, my point is to emphasize many of the vehicles that we have on the roads of the Cayman Islands where we do not have a history of the vehicle, whether or not it has been involved in an accident before or otherwise, whether or not there have been any safety recalls on the vehicle or otherwise as well. So just my 2 cents on that there. And while we have gone past the birthday shout-out greetings, we're going to still share them with you as well. So we have birthday greetings going out to Fireman Mr. Mitchell Connor, and it's coming from his mother and sisters. Also, birthday greetings going out to Mr. Calvin Connor from his sister Dorley McLaughlin as well. And the writer wanted to know what topic today. Well, right now the topics are open. We will have Governor Jane Owen in the studio with us at 9 o'clock. And we're encouraging you, if you have any questions or comments, please send them to us either via email for the record at candw.ky or WhatsApp 925-3261. I have already received one, and these are very, I won't tell you what the comments or questions are. I'll leave that for later, but certainly very much on point and topical as well, certainly reflecting the concerns that many Caymanians have as well. Also want to extend kudos and thanks for the person who they didn't call in live, but called into the studio to remind me that the dateline now for the fee waiver is the 30th of July, and I will share with you from the Lands and Survey website. This was posted on the 9th of May of this year, fee waiver announcement, and it reads, "We are pleased to announce a reduction in fees for rectifications of names and addresses made to the land registry. Effective immediately, customers who need to make rectifications to their land registers to reflect a change in name or address can enjoy this service at no cost. At no cost." They also add some, FYI for you. So as to the question, why update your information? They state that accurate contact information helps the land registry to communicate with property owners. Also, property owners can receive important updates or notices about their property, and also this helps property owners to stay informed as well. So want to thank the listener who reminded me, now corrected me, that the 30th of July of this year is the dateline for you to be able to make rectifications of names and addresses to the land registry at no cost whatsoever. Yes, that shows that those persons who are listening to Radio Cayman, and for the record, they are listening intently. So I had better not make any mistakes, because I stand to be corrected, but I am receptive to corrections as well, because many times, when I'm doing my research, I may be doing it very quickly because of something that may have arisen, and like all of us, I'm a human being as well, subject to make mistakes, but also open to being corrected as well. So let's go back and see some of the other things that we can talk about here. I see there's an article in the Cayman News Service, and I know that there was some discussion about this as well, and has to do with the National Roads Authority making a U-turn, and I don't think that any pun was intended, but the NRA making a U-turn on the roundabout restrictions. And I will read and try to paraphrase where possible as well. It says that this was an article dated the 2nd of June of this year. National Roads Authority has made a U-turn on the decision to impose a left turn only restriction on drivers leaving Grand Harbor at the northern exit of the Hurley's Roundabout. In a press release Friday, the authority's board announced that an agreement with the minister responsible for roads, a reassessment of all available options would be undertaken. The article says that this news comes just over 2 weeks after a public meeting in Raid Bay, hosted by the constituency MP, Sir Alden McLaughlin, where the public gave a resounding thumbs down for the plan. The former Premier and member of the Progressives led the charge to stop the proposal after residents said it would just make a bad situation even worse. The article goes on to say that following the news of the decision to put the plans on hold, McLaughlin told Cayman News Service that he gave credit to Infrastructure Minister J.E. Banks for listening, as the idea to restrict the exit had come from the board's chair, who did not turn up at the meeting, leaving the National Roads Authority Director Edward Howard and the minister to take the fire from the public. This is a quote. It says, "It's a good result, but it is only a short-term fix." That's coming from the quote coming from Sir Alden McLaughlin as well. He goes on to say that a longer-term solution has to be found. He added, referring to the traffic congestion and chaos at times in the area. Former Premier said he was disappointed that the government was not pursuing the rollout of a mandatory policy for private school buses because it was obvious from the decrease in traffic during the school holidays that it would be one of the simplest ways to make a significant difference. Traffic eases immediately during the school break, and it's an easy fix, he's quoted as saying, adding that the decision to focus on car imports was likely to have little to no effect, as it will not reduce the number of cars on the road. I disagree with that viewpoint, and if time allows, I will expand on why I disagree, with that as well, because my view is that is as good a quick fix as other suggestions that are being made to the traffic problem as well. It doesn't take a whole lot to decide who will be able to import vehicles into the Cayman Islands. And we have seen from proposed changes to our legislation, it doesn't take a whole lot to decide which vehicles, what year vehicles, should be restricted to the Cayman Islands as well. So I disagree with Sir Alden on that point as well. Goes on to say that until we have a decent public transport system, which all agree, we will be traveling the same roads, as the population trend has never been one to decline. He said decreases in the population in the wake of Hurricane Ivan and during the pandemic were quickly followed by a surge in new residents. He noted that's another point of contention that I have as well. We should decide how our population grows and how fast it grows as well. And we all know that it is an open secret that our population increase is as a result of the issue of work permits. Now, yes, the issue of work permits has to do with the demand. The demand comes as a result of our full speed ahead development, the full speed ahead development culture that we have adopted here in the Cayman Islands as well. The article goes on to say that Sir Alden McLaughlin said he was aware that this proposal for private school buses would be controversial, as the parents were objecting, but there comes a time when government must consider the greater good. Now, there's one thing to propose private school buses. The other thing is to enforce it as well. How do you prevent those with the financial wherewithal from purchasing a vehicle, giving it to their nanny to pick up the child, drop the child off to school, and to pick them up again? How do we enforce it? How do we monitor that as well? And also in the release about the decision to reconsider the roundabout exit restriction, NAR board thanked the public for feedback on the proposal and said that they and the minister had agreed to, and I quote, a complete reassessment of all available options to improve safety and reduce congestion outlined in a recently concluded traffic study of the area. I'm going to pause there, go to a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit more about we have roundabouts in the Cayman Islands, but then we have to put those bollards and everything up to prevent people from changing lanes. When you look at most jurisdictions, they don't have to do that. Why is it? Why is it that we have so many lawless persons on the roads of the Cayman Islands? Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio yet, but to remind you that the governor, Her Excellency, Jane Owen, will be in the studio with us at 9 o'clock. If you have any questions or comments, we encourage you to email them to us at For the Record, one word, For the Record at candw.ky, or WhatsApp us 925-3261. Try to keep them as short as possible. We're not certain whether or not we will have the ability to open the phone lines up because she will only be here for 1 hour as well. But we want to have you engage one way or the other in the, possibly in the conversation as well. So we've also been asked to give a big birthday shout out to Mr. Christopher Goddard of Winner's Circle, celebrating a birthday today. So Mr. Goddard, happy birthday to you. That is Christopher Goddard of Winner's Circle as well. So let me see if there's anything else in this article that I need to share with you before I switch gears a little bit. So the said that the board hopes the Edgewater connector will be completed during some process that is taking place now. Says this review and analysis will ensure the optimal course of action is taken for the entire road corridor from the CUC roundabout to the Red Bay roundabout, with safety and congestion concerns at the forefront. Goes on to say that this review and analysis will ensure the optimal course of action is taken for the entire road corridor. I read that already. We strongly advise the public to exercise utmost vigilance while navigating the Central 21 roundabout. The board said, and despite canceling the traffic restriction, nevertheless recommended that drivers adhere to the guidelines. The board still advises motorists heading to South Sound or Georgetown after leaving Grand Harbor during the peak congestion period to turn left and travel down the Red Bay roundabout to make the turn there back towards Georgetown. We are confident that this is the safest route available, the release said. The NR board said that the review would still be based on a recent traffic study of the area, which has still not been made public. And Cayman News Services has said that they have made a Freedom of Information request for the report, but they still haven't received a response on that. And my advice, for what it is worth, would say that if you're exiting the roundabout in that area, the southern exit of the roundabout, or southwestern, some may call it, you have to assess your ability to navigate traffic and to use your best judgment in terms of when to come out there. If you feel uncomfortable about doing that, then take the long way around. That is much safer. And at the end of the day, the life that you save will be your own by taking the safest route and at the same time assessing your ability in terms of how to navigate traffic. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So the article did not mention a number of things that took place at that meeting.
Okay.
One of which was that I found that the audience, the resident, was a little bit disrespectful to the director.
I heard about that, yes.
And so much so that the chief officer had to intervene and basically took the meeting over. And this happened in more than one occasion, one where the minister himself had to intervene because of whether you want to say disrespectful or they were, I don't know if you want to say
aggressiveness.
Aggressive, yeah. Passionate about the change.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, I mean, one would expect a certain amount of civility in situations like these. Nothing is wrong with having an opinion. Nothing is wrong with expressing that opinion, but one must at all times try to be respectful, especially in the situation where the director was not the one responsible, totally responsible for the change. It was a board decision. So the article didn't mention that, and for whatever reason, that was left out. And also, I thought the meeting was held. I don't know if it gave the department NRA enough time to prepare, but they came to me seemingly to defend the position and not really coming with suggestion as to alternative to that decision. I think it would have been helpful if they had other options, and whereas the residents were represented, put those out and see, and we could have run a quick survey as to which option they would have been comfortable with, even though sometimes the option that they're comfortable with is not really the safest one, because even this the change, to my mind, is a safe change, but the resident don't like it.
Now, question for you. It was in terms of geography, are we talking about the residents to the north or to the east of the roundabout, or are we talking about the residents who are seeking to go to South Sound or to head back towards Crew Road?
And it would be difficult to differentiate who they were.
Okay.
But it was.
But based on the views that were expressed, would you could you differentiate?
No, I couldn't, because even those who live, regardless of where they live, they defended the position not to have the change. And I thought that was the community spirit was alive and well. I like to see that kind of engagement. But I figured it could have been done in a more respectful way.
Well, you know, us in the Caribbean, and I don't know whether or not the person who was disrespectful, whether or not they were of Caribbean origin or otherwise, but, you know, we in the Caribbean, we like to be confrontational. We like our leaders who are confrontational as well in many instances, which while you know, it may be good for the region, you know, when we are outside the region, we have to be more circumspect in terms of how we approach things. And, you know, you need to practice at home whatever you're going to likely to practice abroad as well.
Yeah, but I thought it was very good of the chief officer to identify the need to intervene, and he did so authoritatively, and brought some semblance of respect back to the meeting. I thought that was pretty good leadership being displayed. Bear in mind that there was standing room only in the Surveyor's Hall, and it was well attended. It like the article suggested, and I agreed. Members from the board, including the board chair, for such a meeting, should have been represented rather than throwing the director under the bus, so to speak.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for that, caller. Miss Susan, why don't we take the commercial break now, folks? Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller, and to remind you that the governor will be in the studio, we're going to take this call, Ms. Susan, and before we, I'll just need about less than 5 minutes, and I will share the governor's biography. And this way, instead of having her provide all of those details, that'll give her more time to talk about, some of the issues that we want to talk about as well. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well at OC. I just want to I don't live in that area, but when I heard about it a couple of weeks afterwards, my son told me about it, and I thought it was a bunch of foolishness we're doing. And you got to attribute this to the board of directors. They're not road engineers, and they are trying to be road engineers. And example, what happened? They threw Mr. Howard under the bus. They're the one make the decision, because I'm saying this because of my experience with my property on Esther Tibbs Way. They're trying to be road engineers. They're not. They need to get the road engineers to put forward the plan. They might put a plan. From my experience, what I had with them, it looks like the road engineers do a plan, but the directors overshoot the plan and want to do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
The directors are not road engineers. They should subject to what a director would be, I guess, with the finances and so forth. But this happens all the time. Remember, by Napa, you had what we call
Malfunction Junction. That was because one of our ministers was the road engineer.
you see, they put the road engineer aside.
Yep.
And several other places, 12 inches of pavement on the roads.
Spots, yes. That was during just before an election.
Right. See, this is the kind of thing. So you got to have good, reputable people that understand the road and know their position as a director. Leave the jobs to the engineers, for the road engineers. Mr. Howard is a good young man. The only fault I find with him, he's soft-spoken and he's not really taking the assertive position and let the board know that he is the director and his team are the engineers.
Yeah.
That's the only fault I find with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it would be interesting to look at what the remit of the board is. I'm sure that we have the roads law, and then it'll tell you what the board's functions are, what the managing director's functions are as well. When time allows, I will take a look at it to see, because there are many instances when the boards try to prevail over the managing, directors, as well.
Happens, Rosie.
Yeah.
Different areas. I mean, my experience with board, with my piece of property on this Tuesday, it was a board decision, because let's say Edward Howard 20 years ago wrote a letter signed in behalf of the Public Works that the road on the south end of my property was the right of way to have access to my property, and also to give the people down in the swamp down there access to there. The board turned it down. They put it down. I had to give up 10 feet of land on the Esther Way to accommodate them. Mm-hmm. But the board is acting in a way that they're not. If they need consulting, import some consultants, road consultants, if Mr. Howard and his team can't do it. But I have confidence that they probably do it, but they're subject to the board. One board member on there, he gets up there like he's a tyrant, cursing and this kind of thing going on. That's why I don't have personal thing, but I had a little bit of feedback from different areas, and he browbeat everybody, and his way go. In fact, he told my son, he's been there 12 years, I don't think I should be on this board.
Maybe it's been there too long.
It's been there too long. Well, he was put off, but they brought him back on. But they need to revamp that board and put a new board in. You got good engineers in here. You got Colford Scott. You got Philip Ebanks. He's a lawyer, but he's been in traffic police for a long time and understand the law. Even the road authority do not follow the planning law, because the planning law talks about roads and how to intersect a road and sight lines and whatnot. They're like a authority unto their own self. You got a planning law there that outlines all the different aspects of roads and how to enter the roads and whatnot.
Okay.
Since I mentioned already. But see, the board need to be revamped. Mr. J, I met with him personally and had to meet him after trying to negotiate with the board, with the directors and the board. And Mr. J, when I met him, he gave him instructions, make this work for Mr. Borden, right? And, well, unfortunately, I must say, when I approached Mr. Howard about, well, they were not given a writing, but that's not correct, because when the minister gave it and the secretary took the notes down, that's in writing. That was his instruction to the director, but his board is overriding him. Mm-hmm. So you need to get rid of the board and remember good, sensible people
Got you.
Understand the road.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, 10 minutes to go before 9 o'clock. So our governor, Jane Owen, share some of her biography with you, and this is coming from gov.uk's website. Jane Owen was appointed governor of the Cayman Islands on Friday, the 21st of April, 2023. From 2017 to 2023, she was the ambassador to the Swiss Confederation and non-resident ambassador to Liechtenstein. 2014 to 2016, she was the deputy CEO and chief operating officer of the UK Trade and Investment. That's UKTI. 2010 to 2014, she was Her Majesty's ambassador to Norway. 2006 to 2010, she was the Director of Trade, Finance, Science and Climate Change, British High Commission, New Delhi, India. 2002 to 2006, Director of Trade, Promotion, British Embassy, Tokyo, Japan. 1998 to 2001, Deputy Head of Mission, British Embassy in Hanoi, Vietnam. 1996 to 1998, Head of Mediterranean and Asia Section, European Union Department of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. 1993 to 1996, Head of Exports to Japan Unit, Department of Trade and Industry. 1990 to 1993, Second Secretary, Commercial, British Embassy, Tokyo, Japan. 1988 to 1990, Japanese language trainer at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. 1987 to 1988, Latin American Department of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. She was educated at Ellerslie School in Malvern and Trinity College, Cambridge. She has a BA honors in Russian, French, and German. She was born in Bilston in the West Midlands. She married David Donnelly in 1998. He unfortunately passed away in 2017. They have two children, Phoebe, age 23, and James, age 21. And if you want to follow her on social media, her social media link, you can follow her at Jane Owen on Twitter, right? Governor, let's talk about the role of the governor of the Cayman Islands. The governor is the representative of His Majesty the King in a British overseas territory. The governor acts as the de facto head of state and is usually responsible for approving the head of government and senior political positions in the territory. The governor is also responsible for liaising with the United Kingdom government and carrying out any ceremonial duties as well. Okay. And I have provided you with the governor's bio as well. Again, I want to encourage you, if you have any questions or comments, please send them by email, for the record, one word, for the record, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, and I have already received some questions and comments as well in that regard. I'm going to go back to the traffic situation for a while again, just to talk about that. And the fact that, roundabouts, in many instances, roundabouts, if you are in Europe, even in the United States where you have roundabouts, they're designed so that traffic can move smoothly, but also move safely as well. Here in the Cayman Islands, at almost every roundabout, we have those bollards that are put in place to prevent drivers from doing the wrong things. If you are well versed with proper driving on the roads, we really shouldn't have to have those. We shouldn't have to have those bollards at the Hurley Grand Harbor roundabout, ensuring that, if you're going towards South Sound, that you don't switch lanes. That should not have to occur. But why do we have to do that? Because we have many drivers on our roads who have a total disregard for our traffic laws. They tailgate you. They speed when it's raining. They will cut you off to get into your lane, only to then move out of that lane and go back into the same lane that they were in before. Everyone seems to be in such a hurry on our roads of the Cayman Islands, chasing that almighty dollar. Is the dollar moving so fast that you have to go that fast to try to get it? We know, yes, interest rates have been going up at a very rapid pace, but you could, whether or not you're speeding to catch up with the interest rates, don't know what it is, but why are you putting yourself at risk? Why are you putting other people's lives at risk to get on our roads and to speed? We don't not need that on our roads. This little 2x4 island that I keep referring to, and I'm not saying it in a derogatory way, because that is one of the reasons why I may have left the Cayman Islands and lived in another country for over 15 years, but I decided to come back home because this is the place that I love. This is the place that I felt comfortable. This is the place that I could legitimately call home. And I loved it, and that is what I wanted to do. So because of its smallness, because everyone at one point in time knew everyone as well. Now, we know that the governor in her role is really not a political person per se, but the question about us losing control of our own country, losing our identity, having an out-of-control economic system, no planning whatsoever, no plans. We just issue businesses coming online. They need workers. We issue the work permits because the demand is there. We have to do more than that. We have to stop being reactive, and we have to start being proactive. That is why people now are saying that we need to put other measures in place to correct some of the issues that we have here in the Cayman Islands. Folks, top of the hour, headline news. When we return, we will have Her Excellency, the Governor, Jane Owen, in the studio with us. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
The Cayman Islands Postal Service has issued 2 new sets of stamps to commemorate Her Late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and celebrate His Majesty King Charles III's accession to the British throne. The collectible philatelic issues of both stamp sets are now available at all post offices across Grand Cayman. Russia's defense ministry says it has thwarted a major Ukrainian attack in Donetsk in the latest sign that a wider counteroffensive may have begun. Video of what Russia says is the battle shows military vehicles under heavy fire in fields. Russia claims it killed 300 troops and destroyed 16 tanks. However, Moscow's claims have not been independently verified. And today, Ukraine's military said it had no information about a major attack in the region. And the Wagner mercenary group says it has detained a regular Russian army officer who allegedly opened fire on a Wagner vehicle in Ukraine. In a video, the officer says the incident happened while he was drunk because of his dislike for Wagner. Earlier, the group's boss said the Russian army had mined the roads Wagner used to leave the city of Bakhmut. There are long-standing tensions between Wagner and Russia's regular army, although they fight on the same side. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
the headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of cash, check, and online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than Her Excellency, the Governor, Miss Jane Owen. She, like I said, was appointed Governor of the Cayman Islands on Friday, the 21st of April, 2023. And, since then, I would say that it basically has been a roller coaster ride for her. So many things, have been happening. It's a short period of time. She attended the King's coronation, also had the opportunity to attend the Joint Ministerial Council meeting in the UK as well. Governor, what I have done is I have shared your bio with my listening and viewing audience. But in welcoming you to the show, I'm going to ask you to give us a brief outline, of your experience and your life as well, as much of it as you feel that you want to share with us. So first of all, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to all your listeners. It's really great to be here. Thank you for having me this morning. So did you want me to talk a little bit about myself?
Sure.
That's something I don't usually do that much of. But for the benefit of your listeners, I was born in the United Kingdom in the West Midlands in a small town just north of Birmingham. I think some of your listeners and viewers have probably been to Birmingham, but they probably haven't been to the place where I was born, which is called Bilston, which is near Wolverhampton. It's a kind of old-fashioned steel-making town, and we used to have a massive steel foundry there, but that was closed in, I think, the early 1980s. So since then, Bilston has been trying to find its new economy, if you like. And my father still lives there. My parents had the toy shop, the local toy shop in this small town. So this was in the days when you could have a small toy shop like a real treasure trove of cars and trains and furry animals and all that kind of thing, and jigsaws and games. So that was my upbringing, and I tell you, it was really busy around Christmas time when everyone was buying toys for their kids for Christmas. So yeah, I grew up there and sort of went to school and university in the UK, and then I started working for the Foreign Ministry in the British Foreign Office, what we now call the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, in 1987. So as you can see, I've worked for the FCO or FCDO for a very long time. But in that time, I've always been changing jobs, because that's what you do as a diplomat, isn't it? You know, you have one job somewhere for 3 or 4 years and then you move somewhere else. So even though I've always worked for one institution, I feel as though I've had many, many different jobs, and of course lived in lots of wonderful and exciting places around the world.
Okay. And I know it's only been a short period of time that you have been in the Cayman Islands, but what are your first impressions about the Cayman Islands and the people that you have met so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think before you come to Cayman, obviously you read about it and you know about it and you see beautiful pictures, so you expect it to be beautiful, but what you don't really get before you come here is what are the people like, isn't it? So it's been such a joy, really, arriving and finding such an incredibly warm welcome, and this real experience of Cayman kind, which I think comes out in many different ways. You know, I think people are very welcoming, they're very proud of all of the islands here, all 3 islands. They really want to share information about tradition and cultures, and I've also been really impressed with the way in which Cayman kind comes out very strongly in the support for the charity sector, because as you know, one of the first things I did was Deputy Governor's 5K run, which I regarded as my 5K walk. But it was really impressive to see the support of that, and I've been kind of involved in talking to other people running charities here on the island, and I've been really impressed as to how widespread support for charities is, and also how generous people are.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we know that while you're the head of the civil service, that much of that responsibility has been delegated to the deputy governor. But at the same time, you want to familiarize yourself with the civil service, the various departments. Have you been doing your rounds so far, and what are your impressions?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've been doing my rounds among many different aspects of Caymanian government and society. So it's been a huge pleasure also to be chairing cabinet each week and really getting to know members of the government. I've appreciated being able to talk to people in business, people in different aspects of the community. But of course, the civil service is an incredibly important part. It's kind of like the engine, I think, that makes Cayman run smoothly. So I've been talking to many of the chief officers. I've met all of the chief officers, and I want to spend some more time with them. We've been looking at different policy areas, and I've certainly been very impressed at the level of professionalism and competence in the civil service. I think in all countries there's a drive to constantly improve and broaden the work we do. And there are many challenges coming our way. You know, people always expect civil servants to be able to move faster, sometimes to unrealistic timeframes actually, but to be able to move fast is very important. To be able to be technically competent is increasingly important, because I think in the decisions we're making in this day and age, you really need good analysis. And that is not something that I, as a civil servant in the UK, was really particularly trained to do, really excellent analysis using data, for example. So I think there are a lot of challenges that we face, but I feel there's a real motivation in the Cayman Civil Service to get to grips with that. I went on Thursday, was it Thursday last week, to the Deputy Governor's Award ceremony.
Yes.
And as you know, Sarah Orrett won the overall award, but there were 12 individuals in total who'd all won monthly awards, and they all did a video. I don't know if they're on the internet, but if they are, I would recommend to your listeners and viewers that you go along and sign in and listen, because they were so inspiring, these 12 individuals, and how they are motivating and how committed they are to public service is really impressive.
And how much do you believe that adds to morale, positive morale in the civil service?
Yeah, I think overall, we have employees of the month each month, and all of this is really important, because I think it also shows role models, and it shows how you can be confident and sort of forging your own way of doing things, which doesn't have to be exactly the same way that everybody else does things, but everybody has their own special way of leading and inspiring others, and everybody does it differently, but we can definitely all learn from each other. So I think it is incredibly important, actually.
Okay. Now, Governor, we've had our share of governors here in the Cayman Islands, and in the past, I've compared other overseas territories like Gibraltar and Bermuda and their history of governors based on, for instance, Gibraltar. There are, security and sovereignty issues, and they have been historical as well. So you found that in those jurisdictions, you had persons who were geared more towards, they were military commanders to a certain extent, and that has changed somewhat. And I preface my question to you with that there are some persons who believe that governors come with a particular agenda. And sometimes that impression may be true. We know, for instance, that when the UK government was interested and wanted us to take a relook of our constitution to move towards more constitutional advancement, that we did have governors who came here, and as a part of what they were seeking to accomplish was to get us on that footing as well. Can you talk about yours and what your remit may be, and whether or not during the course of your tenure you may look and see things that you may have a personal interest in, and not only as a governor but as an individual take an interest in as well?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, I think before I came to Cayman, I did speak to quite a lot of people, including ministers in the UK, and I think the single thing I came determined to do was to continue to make a real success of this fabulous relationship that we have between the United Kingdom and Cayman. But I don't have a particular, set of agendas about how to do that. And I think it's incredibly important for me to listen and learn. But what I am clear about is that it is a special relationship, and it does bring benefits to both sides. And it's really important for the future that it continues to bring benefits to both sides, because that is the fundamental reason for it being a success. If I think, I obviously want to really respect the constitutional framework here, and within that I'm very aware of my responsibilities as governor, and I would flag two of those in particular, and I don't think this will be a surprise to your listeners and viewers. It's kind of the security and it's governance. I think those are the two really important things. We can talk about those a bit more if you like.
Sure,
and then,
sure.
But then there's a whole host of areas such as, you know, the economy, sustainability, education, health, where, you know, that policy is devolved quite rightly to the government here, but there are great ways in which we can work together and where we can support each other. And so that's what I want to do, to make sure that I am offering support and sharing experiences. I think we can share experiences in both directions, and that is what makes the relationship such a great one today.
Okay, Governor, we're going to take our first commercial break. On the flip side of the commercial break, I want to talk a little bit more about that relationship, and we heard that expressed at the Joint Ministerial Council, also at the in the Parliament of the United Kingdom, you know, as well, while you were there, and while we recognize that the debate in Parliament took place at the same time that the Joint Ministerial Council was holding its meetings. I'm sure that you're familiar with what was said in there as well, because we did have one time in the Cayman Islands when one of our political leaders felt that rather than it being a partnership, and this was during the period of time when the UK White Paper was published, Partnership for Progress and Prosperity, and that particular leader felt that it was a sinking ship rather than a partnership. And if you could talk a little bit now more about that positive outlook, that positive approach that is now being taken by the United Kingdom government. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Governor Jane Owen will continue after this short commercial break.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Her Excellency Jane Owen, Governor of the Cayman Islands. So before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about that relationship with the United Kingdom and the overseas territories, and in particular the Cayman Islands. Governor, back over to you.
Yes, so I, as I said, I think it's really important that the relationship works for both sides, and I really feel it is. If you look at the sort of future that we're all moving into, it's a future that is probably less secure than it was for many, many reasons. It's a future where global powers continue to compete. So if you've got strong relations with some of these major centers of power, Cayman obviously has a great relationship with the United States as well, which I think is fantastic, but with the UK and Europe more widely, and these parts of the global network that share the values that we espouse. I think that's really important. We need to look to a sustainable future, and that means climate change, but it also means health. It means education. It means how to get employment for our young people. It means well-being. It means mental health. And in all of these areas, I think it's great to have good friends. And then, the economy around the world is also becoming increasingly competitive, really, and in all sorts of new ways that we maybe did not predict even 10 years ago, with the sudden resurgence or development of AI and other aspects. Also, actually, sanctions and the way sanctions will go in the future. So again, I think having that economic support to each other, including in the area of financial services, but more broadly, is extremely useful for both of our countries.
Okay. Now, Governor, I know you did mention, before about the importance of good governance and accountability. And you also spoke about your expectations, of the civil service in providing a world-class civil service. Anything else that you would want to add to that?
Well, I think I've been talking quite a bit to Deputy Governor about this, and I know he's planning on relaunching his strategy, which he has been working on extremely effectively, actually, over the last couple of years. I hope that's not news to all of the civil servants who are listening in this morning. But the kind of things we've been talking about are obviously leadership, accountability, the ability to sort of deliver at pace and also come up with new solutions, because I think we will need new solutions. Obviously, honesty and integrity is something that we really value in among civil servants all around the world, really. And the other one that I would mention that I think is incredibly important is collaboration. I think it's really, really important that civil servants are not sitting at their desk or sitting in their teams and beavering away at their work, kind of in a silo or in a stovepipe, without looking at, how can they collaborate with the civil servant in another ministry down the hall? How can they collaborate and talk to business? How can they talk to the wider community, the NGO, non-governmental organisations or charities out there, or other people who are very active in the community? So if we're going to find the best solutions, we won't always be able to go 100% to answer the concerns of each person, because what you're looking to do is find the best solution that takes into account the concerns that everyone has, at least to a certain degree. So collaboration, I think, is something we need to get better at in the Cayman Civil Service, and this is a common problem or a common challenge for civil servants all around the world.
Okay. Governor, we know that one of your responsibilities is also to chair the National Security Council. I'd like you to talk about the National Security Council and its role in the continued development of the Cayman Islands.
Yes, I think the NSC is a very important body. Premier sits on it along with me. That's incredibly important. There's one or two other ministers who also sit on it, Minister Ebanks, Minister Turner, and we have the Commissioner of Police, we have Border and Customs on it. So it's a really important opportunity for us to look strategically at the threats that Cayman face. It's not intended to be operational, but it gives the strategic direction. And we've had one meeting since I arrived, so I was very keen that it would meet very soon after I arrived. And the sort of things that we looked at are very predictable, I'm sure, for all of your listeners and viewers. So the police are working extremely hard to combat crime, including violent crime and crime involving firearms. Yes. We also talked about drugs. Everybody knows that in all of our countries, all around the world, the threat of penetration, increasing penetration of drugs is an issue for our societies, for our schools, for everybody. And we also talked a bit about road safety, which I know is a major issue for many of your listeners and viewers. But just coming back to the question of drugs, if you're looking at this as a strategic issue, of course you look at trying to stop the import. That's an obvious thing to do. But I think there's a massive role for education and communication and community engagement. And there's a massive role as well for the health services, which Minister Turner, of course, is well on top of. But this just shows that if we don't have a collaborative approach, including the police and the borders and the health and education, to name just 4 examples, we are never going to tackle it successfully, and it is a problem that is growing. So we need to move fast and decisively to try and do that.
Yeah, that whole idea of joined up government is so important. Yes. Okay, I'm going to combine these 2 questions. In our Constitution, we have certain entities that or institutions that support democracy in the Cayman Islands. And at the same time, one of our listeners has asked me to ask you, says, can she say if the long overdue advisory district councils, whenever introduced, should be comprised of selected party members or a cross section of each constituency? Now, that may be a little bit too much detail there for you, because we're still struggling with just simply implementing legislation or putting into effect legislation that complies with our Constitution in relation to the establishment of the creation of a law that establishes advisory district councils.
Oh, okay. Well, certainly, first of all, thank you. Thanks for the question. In terms of the institutions, I think it is really important that we have independent institutions that sort of oversee the business of the country. So, whether it's human rights, anti-corruption, judicial, constitutional, standards in public life, we have a whole host of them, and I think they all fulfill a really important role to sort of, keep an eye on what's happening, write reports when necessary, look into things, respond when concerns are raised, and it's really important to have those independent channels. And I think you find in most thriving democracies, those sort of institutions are very important. I have to confess that I have not got the background on these advisory district councils, but in the spirit of learning and listening, this is clearly something that it would be useful for me to look into. So I will undertake this morning to find out exactly where that dossier and where that debate has got to.
Okay, Ms. Susan, we're going to take our next commercial break. With the governor's consent, we have some more questions, but there may be the possibility that we can open up the phone lines as well, hopefully for at least 15 or 20 minutes or maybe even more. So stand by, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Her Excellency, the Governor of the Cayman Islands, Miss Jane Owen. We do have another question here, Governor, and we know that when you took your oath as Governor of the Cayman Islands, you in that oath, you also gave an oath to serve and represent the people of the Cayman Islands, but you also, your oath is to represent the Crown and the government of the United Kingdom. How will you, do you see any challenges in creating that balance between the United Kingdom and the Cayman Islands in terms of your, how do you balance those obligations? And we do know that when the two come into conflict, which will prevail? But I'd like you to speak more about that, Governor.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think there's most of the time the interests definitely coincide rather than collide, I would say. And if you're going to have a successful relationship, that's really how it needs to be. Also, I think it's very helpful having the Constitution, which is very clear about the different responsibilities of the governor and the areas which are very many and varied, which have been devolved to your government. So it's very important to respect and fully understand that. And I did meet His Majesty the King before I came here. Saw His Majesty again with Premier during the coronation festivities, but also I did meet His Majesty in February. And I can say it's very, very clear that how does His Majesty see Cayman? He wants to see Cayman develop and succeed and continue to be a really influential country in this region and a real star in terms of its development and the way it manages its affairs, including its regulatory affairs. So, I that's why I think our interests do tend to coincide almost all of the time.
Okay, thanks for that as well. And another question that we have received, this person has concerns about crime. And being a small jurisdiction, people are accustomed to small town hall meetings, going to the various districts. But yet we see, for instance, the feedback that we have received from the Boundaries Commission, that the attendance at those meetings has been pretty dismal. People simply don't come out. We even see it at political meetings these days where, people have a tendency to rely more on social media and everything else. And so this person is talking about the fact that we don't have as many meetings with the police, and as a result of the some crimes in the Cayman Islands, whether or not we should have more, the Commissioner of Police or his representative should have more district meetings to keep the public informed. And we do know that the police falls under your remit, internal security falls under your remit.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something I can talk to Police Commissioner about. I know that he recently organised some meetings in Cayman Brac, which I think were relatively well attended and were certainly very welcomed. So I know that Police Commissioner is very, very committed to working with communities, because it's very often people in communities who know what is going on, and therefore it's really important to have that strong and close and good relationship with the police. I think your listener who asked the question has actually identified the problem, though, which is it's good, and a lot of people want to have more meetings, but when you have them, who actually turns up? And so maybe this is an issue for us in thinking about how we can better communicate and how we balance the in-person meetings with maybe better information online. Because you mentioned the Electoral Boundaries Commission. I know that there have been several meetings, and in fact I think I'm going to one this week talking about the climate strategy and the sustainability strategy that's led by Honourable Premier. And I do think it's really important for people to turn up and share their views, because, as I constantly say, this is not only about what we do about mangroves. It's what we do to have sustainable communities when you're looking at development and the economy more widely, but also health and education and communication. So, when you look at sustainability, you're actually looking at the whole future of the islands, and people do need to, I would encourage people to turn up and give their views on that, especially young people. So any of your young listeners and viewers, please do turn up, because that's what democracy is all about.
Okay. One other observation that we have here from a listener has to do with the Cayman Islands and the fact that generational Caymanians are feeling that, they are threatened, their way of life may be threatened as a result of the rapid development in the Cayman Islands. And as a result of that rapid development in the Cayman Islands, the more immigration into the Cayman Islands. They pointed out that in the UK, that we have seen politicians and policymakers express some concerns about at least illegal migration, and even with legal migration, placing a cap on it. Now, we know that your Customs and Border Control has been devolved to a minister. That has been devolved locally as well. Do you have any views and comments on that?
Yeah, I hear very clearly what your listener is saying, and I do believe that immigration, both legal and illegal, will be one of the major topics of the coming century. I think there's no doubt about that. And so for all countries in the world, figuring out how to handle immigration and movement of people in all of its facets is going to be a huge political and economic challenge, and there's massive opportunities in that as well. So here in Cayman, I see that there's been a massive effort to make sure that particularly illegal or immigration that is coming in a sort of surprising way, if you like. I think you have taken steps to manage that really well. I think it's important that migrants are treated fairly and humanely, and actually have their cases progressed quickly so that they know where they stand. And for those people who do get asylum for the right reasons, that they are then given the support that they need. And I feel that is working pretty impressively here in Cayman. I would say for the kind of legal work immigration, I know that's an issue here. Interestingly, in the UK, when the UK left the European Union, I think everyone was expecting us to, particularly because immigration had been such an issue in the whole exit debate. Everybody expected us to have a very strict immigration policy. Actually, what we did was we have no quotas. We've really opened up immigration to the whole world. And this is because in the UK, I think it's recognised that, immigration in an economic sense also brings huge opportunities. So you have to get the balance right. And I know that Cayman will continue to attempt to do that. And all I would say is I think we need to be careful about not becoming a closed society. And I don't think there's any risk of that, actually. And I absolutely hear what your listeners are saying. But I think it's important to remember the huge benefits of having an open economy. And I think it's helped Cayman to remain incredibly attractive and competitive over the years, and will continue to do that.
Okay, Ms. Susan, with your permission, we'll take the commercial break now. We will, and with the governor's permission, we can open up the phone lines. We're going to have probably about 20 minutes of time left after. We're going to ask people, if you call in, first of all, we want you to be as brief as possible. We also want you to be respectful. And so brief and respectful, those two things we are asking you to be at this point in time when you do call in. So we are going to open up the phone lines. Please stay tuned. For the record, with Governor Jane Owen will continue shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Do you own a Honda vehicle? There is currently an urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags in Honda vehicles in the Cayman Islands. As affected vehicles get older, a combination of high temperatures and humidity can affect airbags with a fault, placing you and your family at potential risk. Car City is currently replacing any defective airbags completely free of charge. To check whether your vehicle is affected, go to carcity.ky/recalls. If your vehicle is not affected, you will require a letter from Car City stating so for your next vehicle licensing inspection. Without this, your vehicle will not pass its inspection. Please contact Car City Service Team to arrange this by calling 949-5525 or go to carcity.ky/recalls. The safety of you and your family is important to Car City, so please take the time to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Britke. Good like that.
Hello, parents and guardians. Puberty, relationships, and sex-related topics can be challenging conversations to navigate as a parent, but it doesn't have to be. In celebration of Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month, the Family Resource Center is inviting you to a parenting evening at the Loft Compass Center on Monday, June 5th at 5:30 p.m. Come and learn from health and parenting experts to understand the facts and how to speak to your children about important topics in support of their health and safety. Registration is required. Call 949-0006 or email frc@gov.ky. Refreshments will be provided.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Governor Jane Owen. It is our pleasure to host her in the studio this morning. We have opened up the phone lines and we do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C., and thanks for taking my call. Good morning, Governor Owen.
Morning.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands. While I consider myself an endangered species here these days, I would just like to ask a question, if you could kind of answer. Do you have any specific projects that you've been instructed to carry out while you're here and during your term? And if so, could you say what they would be?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. No, I don't have anything that's really specific that has been preordained, if you like. As I said at the beginning, I think the one thing I came here determined to do was to make a success of this wonderful relationship that the United Kingdom has with Cayman and that Cayman has with the United Kingdom. It is a two-way street, I think. And so within that, I want to be guided by the government, by the civil service, by you, by listeners, by the community, by the economic interests here on the islands about, because the people who are living here an awful lot longer than me have a much better idea of what is going to be the recipe for Cayman's success. So I don't have any kind of ready-made agenda, if you like. But it clearly is important for me to focus on those aspects of my role which are enshrined in the Constitution, particularly around governance and security, and for everything else to make sure that I am supporting in the best way I possibly can.
I appreciate that. I just feel that in recent years we've been going in the opposite direction of what we were known to be popular for or appreciated for, and it's very concerning to me about some of these things because I don't think it's in the interest and the best interest of the country. Although a lot of this could be worldwide issues, I don't feel that we need to be a part of something that we don't want to be a part of, even though I know we are an overseas territory, and I think we need to be respected as well on issues that we are pretty adamant about that we do not want. But anyway, I do appreciate the position we're in with UK, that they appreciate us, and certainly we appreciate them as well. I just want to be, I'm concerned about certain things that I would prefer to see different nowadays than what's happening. But thank you for your information and hope you enjoy your stay here with us, and we'll do our best to help you do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope to meet sometime.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tommy. Governor, this one is pretty long. I'll try to paraphrase where I can. Person has written and said, good morning, OC. Her Excellency, Jane Owen appears to be most appropriately credentialized individual ever to grace the office of Governor of the Cayman Islands. The combination of her erudite scholarship, diplomatic abode as ambassador to Norway and Switzerland, her intimate involvement with international commerce and trade, and inadvertently international finance places her at the nexus of modernity, socially, politically, and economically. The right person at the right time for Cayman. We look forward to assisting her with the contributions she will be involved with as a representative of head of state with great expectation. They go on to say that while small, our society is complex, plugged into the global economic engine, facing significant risks around who we are, what has made us successful, so welcoming with intent, severe vulnerability to loss of our Caymanian identity to silo interest as well. So that was the person's comment. Pretty long. I'm sure that you were able to pick up on some of the comments made there as well. And one has to do with your background, and certainly puts you more in the know in terms of on the international stage, financially and otherwise, what the Cayman Islands is facing and how we go about navigating that as well.
Yes, I mean, I think the nexus of the points which were very well made there by your listener are that, you know, that the world is changing so fast, isn't it, in every single aspect we can imagine. And one of the things I do believe is that, in a way, if you want to stay the same, if you want to retain your traditions and your success and your prosperity, if you want to hold on to that, you have to change. And that is one of the challenges, isn't it? It sounds very ironic that you have to change in order to stay the same.
Same, yes.
But if you try to not change, you are inevitably, things are going to happen to you that are out of your control, and things will change without you wanting to. So I think that is the challenge, isn't it, that all countries are facing, is how to introduce this sort of good change that encompasses everybody, different aspects of society, and that creates a country, a future success that is sustainable in the wider sense of that word, sustainable for everybody, and creates real opportunities for our young people, and creates a sort of place that they're going to want to live and thrive and be healthy and have happy lives. So I absolutely concur with everything that your listener said there. It's not easy, but together, I'm not a sort of I don't espouse to this idea that, you know, humanity is lost and everything is just going to get worse. And sometimes when I speak to some of my dad's friends, not my dad, I have to say, my father is 90 years old but tends to be quite positive. But you know, some of his friends is like, oh, you know, it's all going to be bad in the
dystopian view, yes.
Yeah, dystopia. and I look at my kids and I think, no, I'm determined that we're going to have hope and we're going to get there.
Okay. One of our listeners has opined about the fact that we are seeing more and more Caymanians, British Overseas Territory citizen, taking advantage of the dual citizenship and their British citizenship, and now residing in the United Kingdom, either working or, of course, attending school and taking advantage of some of the benefits of being an overseas territory as far as education is concerned. And they wanted to know, how do you see the role of the Cayman Islands office in the UK? They're expanding their role while they do not have diplomatic status per se, you know, their role in assisting Caymanians in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, very good question. So I guess many of your listeners and viewers probably know Tasha Ebanks Garcia, who's your representative in London and who's doing an absolutely sterling job. Tasha was over here last week, and we had a meeting together. So yeah, I think the office in London plays a very important role, not just for visiting Caymanian students and young people, but more broadly engaging with the London decision makers across the UK. So I would really herald the great work that Tasha is doing. And I know that I think at any one time there's around 400 or 500 Caymanian students in the UK, either studying undergrad or doing MAs, some of them doing PhDs and really amazing research. And that is a great link that we have. I think the university experience in the UK is really good fun. It's getting back to normal after COVID. We have great institutions, and it's a wonderful route for young people to be able to take.
Okay, and this person has said that, of course, hurricane season started on the 1st of June, and I will interject there and say that we know we had one governor, Governor Bruce Dinwiddie, who was almost basically baptized, in his tenure as governor with Hurricane Ivan in 2004. And they're asking about your message to the Cayman Islands. And also, if you could speak a little bit about the improved relationship between the Cayman Islands and the United Kingdom when it comes to disaster relief, because they were certainly heavily criticized after Hurricane Ivan for the dismal response that took place at that time.
Yes, I'm aware of that. It certainly is one of the most important aspects of the work that I do with my brilliant team in Governor's Office, is working with Hazard Management Cayman Islands, with the Red Cross, with the emergency services, with everybody involved in this to make sure that we're well prepared. So what I would say to everybody listening and viewing is make sure you're well prepared, but also think about the after effect. So if you've got provisions, obviously it's not just for the the day or so of the hurricane, but it's for afterwards as well. And also think about what you do in an earthquake, not just a hurricane. I've been really, really impressed actually by all of your services here, all of the services we have. How good they are at providing that preparedness. And I've also been really impressed with what communities are doing, because I know it has to stretch out into the communities. So I know that basically everyone is probably much better prepared than I personally am, because it's my first hurricane season. So I've been really trying to get my head around this.
And you're near to the beach.
Yeah, very, very near to the beach. So, what do I do about the house, the dog, the kids, the furniture, everything? It is quite a daunting prospect, isn't it, when you're new to the island? But I think we're in a strong position. We have a large ship which has already set sail from the UK. It'll be in the region very, very shortly. It's called Dauntless. It's a destroyer. Has quite a lot of people on board, more than 200, I think, and it can carry quite a lot of stores. It can launch a helicopter. So I think this will be very important to have in the region if we need it. And I've also been impressed at the kind of inter-cooperation that goes on among the islands here in the Caribbean as well. And I know that that's valued. Cayman is very generous with its support, but we also then have access to support from others in the case of a disaster. So well
and
prepared.
in particular also there are our sister overseas territories.
Yeah.
After 2004 we had the Bermuda Regiment that came here and assisted us as well, and we have done the same for other overseas territories. And we also have the advantage of having helicopters, which after a hurricane has passed gives you that advantage to get an aerial view of the damage that has been done as well. Miss Susan, we have a voice note. You want to play that voice note as well for us, please? Go right ahead.
Good morning, Mrs. Governor. Welcome to the Cayman Islands. God bless you, and I hope that you enjoy your time here with us. And I have one question and one only. Can you do anything about the cost of living in the Cayman Islands? It is terrible, the prices in the Cayman Islands. Although our dollar values more, it seems that the merchants are overpricing, and even if we could get the prices the same as in the US prices, although we have to pay tax and what have to bring it in, it would be much easier, because the average Caymanian people cannot survive on these high price cost of living, and no wage increase are being done. No wage increase whatsoever are being done. Can you do anything about that is my question. And again, it's a welcome, and may God bless you.
Well, thank you very much for that question. Before I get on to it, I also just wanted to mention the regiment here, actually, in terms of hurricane, because I'm sorry I forgot to mention them, but I did meet Commandant Roger the other day and a number of his staff, and I was really impressed with what they also can do for hurricanes, so that's really important to remember as well. Yeah, in terms of costs, I mean, the economy is a devolved issue here in Cayman, and I have no doubt that you are talking to your local politicians, to ministers, to the government about it. It is obviously a challenge if you, if you live on an island where, as you've pointed out, a lot of things are almost everything is coming in, being flown in or coming in by ship. I think trying to work, as I know Minister for Agriculture, J.E. Banks, is trying to do, to have more self-sufficiency in agriculture is important as well, isn't it? And to try and bring down the costs of that. And I'm also supportive of the idea that if we had, for example, more solar power, maybe over time we could bring down the cost of energy. I mean, I'm not a specialist in this area, but I know that the government is looking at it, and I absolutely would endorse it as a major priority going forward, and that is something that I know Honourable Premier is very aware of as well.
Okay. We have one caller, and I want to read this as well. Ms. Susan, can you check with Ms. Norma to see if we can go a little bit over? And what I'll do is I'll read this in the meantime. This person has written, Governor, and say, thanks for taking the time out to be on For the Record this morning, Governor Owen. Could you try to bring to the attention of our elected members of Parliament that the pace of development in which Grand Cayman has been going for the past several years, it needs to be slowed down to a certain extent to save for the rainy days when things have slowed down or there is a recession. Generational Caymanians are finding it very difficult to keep up with the very high cost of living, especially to be able to afford to purchase a suitable piece of land or property to either build their own home on or do whatever else they may need to do or wish to do. Caymanians feel like they are being left behind and are ignored when it comes to our rights and the future of our children and grandchildren, etc. Also, our elected members of Parliament need to involve the general public in drafting a suitable and sustainable planning law, which is a necessity and is long overdue. In my opinion, far too many announcements have been made to allow rich foreign investors and others to build almost any and everywhere, especially along our shoreline, which needs to be stopped. Your early attention and kind consideration would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I absolutely hear what you say, and I think when I look at what's going on, for example, in London, where we have exactly a similar issue, that there is so much inward investment coming in, which is kind of great in a way for the economy, for development, but on the other hand, you then see rising prices, inflation, particularly in real estate, and then it makes it extremely difficult for young people, or indeed anybody really, to get on the property ladder. And of course, in a sort of capitalist, normal, free market economy, it's quite challenging to figure out how to handle that. I know from my discussions with Honourable Premier and the Cabinet that this is absolutely something they are seized of, they're aware of. And I think we do need to continue to find the right balance between ongoing development, which is clearly going to be important for the wider economy and prosperity, alongside sustainability, so a sustainable way of doing this, but also a way that is sustainable for people who've lived here for generations, or even people who are coming in without so much money, ordinary people like me, how are people going to be able to afford to continue to live their lives? And I don't have the solutions, and it is a devolved area of business under the Constitution, but I can assure you it's something that's very much on the minds of the government of the day.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Governor, the comments go to show you how much expectation or populace have of the governor in terms of their ability and their influence as well. Okay, Governor, we want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments. We do have a caller on hold as well, so if you're not too pressed, we're going to go for another 15 minutes. So we're going to just go to a headline news, come back, take the caller, and then give you an opportunity for some closing comments. Folks, please stay tuned. We've extended For the Record for a little bit longer, so For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
No cruise ships are set to visit Cayman today. Tomorrow, Cayman will welcome Celebrity Equinox and Disney Fantasy with up to 6,800 people. A full cruise calendar can be found at caymanport.com. U.S. fighter jets scrambled at supersonic speed to intercept an unresponsive plane as it flew over Washington, D.C. on Sunday. The F-16 jets caused a loud sonic boom as it was heard around the region, prompting concern from some residents. They were deployed after the plane entered some of the most heavily restricted airspace in the country and failed to respond to the authorities. It then crashed in a rural area of Virginia after a rapid descent. No survivors have been found. And India's railway ministry has recommended that the country's top detective agency should investigate the deadly crash that killed 275 people. The railway minister announced the decision but did not give any details. Railway-led investigations have already started, and preliminary reports say a signal fault led to the crash. The three-train collision on Friday night has been described as India's worst rail accident this century. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
HSA's cardiology clinic is now located at Smith Road Medical Center. Our cardiology team provides expert care and treatment for heart conditions such as coronary artery disease, heart failure, arrhythmias, hypertension, congenital heart diseases, among others. The new location offers state-of-the-art cardiac diagnostic testing, including echocardiograms, ECGs, and stress tests. To contact, call 949-8600. At HSA, your heart matters to us.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We want to thank management for allowing us to continue this conversation with Her Excellency, the Governor, Jane Owen. We do have a caller. We're going to make that the last caller because we want to give the Governor an opportunity for some closing comments as well. And hopefully, based on her experience, this will not be the last time that she will be on For the Record as well. So let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, OC.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, and good morning to the Governor, Jane Owen.
Hello, good morning.
Ma'am, you're welcome to the Cayman Islands. My name is Rupert Lennox Moxham. My wife and I, we operate the bakery in the Brac. So whenever you're in the Brac, I would really like to give you something nice from the bakery. And hopefully, the last governor, I met him not for the first time, but the last agriculture show that was in the Brac. He came to that, and he was quite amazed. It was quite amazing to have so many people, and just by having the governor there made a lot of difference with the Brac on that particular day. And I hope that one of these days you will be able to come to one of these shows that they have at the agricultural ground in the Brac. And hopefully I get to see you then. If not, have a nice stay while you're in the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands is one of the last paradises to be exploited by the outside world, and I hope you can make a difference in it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, that's a wonderful warm welcome, and I have to say I have heard a lot about your bakery. I'm sure it's the one that people have been talking to me about, and how delicious. Do you have some special kind of, is it a bun or a bread or something that you sell? There's something quite unique that you sell in your bakery, isn't there?
Well, my wife makes something very special, and I hope that I get to know when you come in so we can prepare one of those for you. Thank you so much.
Can you tell about the round bread?
The round bread?
Yes.
Oh, they're gone worldwide. A guy from, he owns some property in the Brack. He took about 3 back to the UK the other day. And also, I had some friends from the US, but they were original from Israel. The round hard bread have gone to Israel and UK so far that I know about, because a lot of people come here for the round hard bread, and you're quite welcome to try one of those when you're here.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm really looking forward to coming to the Brack again. I visited Brack and met quite a few Brackers when I was over there in my first week, and also went to Little Cayman, which was wonderful, but it was all too short. And so I will definitely be making a plan to come back very soon. And I'm sorry I didn't see the agricultural show in Brack, but I did on the day I was in Little Cayman. It was the agriculture show, and I think you'd sent over some of your beautiful Brack cows to Little Cayman. So I was able to meet some Brack cows, which was very special as well.
So I'm sure the farmers will be able to take you and show you some, you know.
Yeah, that's very good. I think I'm quite afraid of cows when I get very close to them, so I hope your cows are friendly in Brack.
Caller, thank you very much. We're going to try to grab one more caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Nick Doom. Couple of quick questions. I'm going to try to ram this in for you. First and foremost, would like to know, just for personal preference, what's your favorite tea and or coffee that you prefer drinking? My next question to you is that as we are in hurricane season and we are building our sustainability and preparations and ability to support not only the Cayman Islands, but also the wider regional and British overseas territories. One of the main factors in this is our new Cayman Islands regiment. Though I would say that with a number of less than 100, one would think that one would need to work on building up the numbers of the regiment to be able to support further activities in the Cayman as well as the region as well. Do we have any further plans on pushing more recruitment in the near future, as well as building further relations between the Ministry of Defence in the UK, as well as other opportunities, say, in the near future?
Yeah, thank you very much. Is it Nick or Mick?
Mick Doom.
Mick.
MCDOOM.
Yeah, okay. Very wonderful. Thank you very much for your questions. Yes, on the tea and coffee question, I tend to have a coffee every morning. I'm very keen on cappuccino, actually, though all my Italian friends tell me I'm only allowed to drink that up until midday, otherwise it's very uncool. And then when it comes to tea, I think I'm rather unusual because I don't really drink black tea, so I tend to drink sort of peppermint or chamomile or fruit teas, and I love them and I drink them all day long, but not really black tea, which I'm sure is a very unsuitable thing for any British governor to say. Then when you're talking about hurricanes, absolutely right, and I really wanted to mention the regiment, as I said before, because they're absolutely crucial. I think there's just under 100 people in the regiment at the moment. I really enjoyed my visit over there. last week? Yeah, I think it was last week in a pouring down rain, actually. I know that the reservists in the regiment are really, really crucial, doing an absolutely brilliant job. So I would take my hat off to everyone who is a reservist. I don't know if that includes you, Mick, as well. And I do believe we need to put more effort now into building up this fabulous community in the regiment. There's great opportunities for, driving really massive vehicles, providing a huge impact in the case of any kind of natural disaster, learning about first aid and medical and paramedic work. That all of the things that the regiment can teach and build are really crucial. The Ministry of Defence in the UK absolutely behind it. Mark Lancaster, who is the supporter of it, sent me a text the other day just to reiterate how important he sees the regiment. So that's absolutely one of my top priorities here as well.
Okay, I want to thank the caller for that. Governor, I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments as well.
Thank you very much, OC. It's been such a delight to be here this morning. Really appreciate it. It's been very nice, actually, to be able to talk in person to some of your listeners and viewers as well. I think what I just really want to say is thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for the great welcome across communities, across the government, across the civil service. I feel that everyone is so willing to share their views and thoughts and ideas and creativity and solutions. It gives me huge energy and optimism for what we can do together in the future. Over the next few weeks, I'll be going around to talk to people in the different parliamentary constituencies. I want to get over to the sister islands again. I'm hoping to get out and meet as many of you as I possibly can. So look out for Governor approaching your community anytime soon, and very much look forward to talking to you more then. Thank you very much, OC.
Thank you very much, Governor, for making yourself available as well. And we look forward to more future conversations with you as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.